two stories that are related to the events of the day. It's about 10 p.m. on Tuesday. Earlier today, the discharge petition to compel the DOJ to release the Epstein files passed the House and the Senate. Between those two chambers, there was only one single Republican who voted against that bill. It passed both houses with veto-proof majorities. And then this evening, Elon Musk returned to the White House. From Bloomberg, Elon Musk returned to the White House on Tuesday in a sign that tensions between President Donald Trump and the world's richest ketamine addict have thawed since a fierce split over deficit spending earlier this year fractured their once cozy relationship. We'll come back to that in a moment. Elon Musk was invited as a guest to a gala dinner to honor Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Bonesaw, who had American journalist Khashoggi murdered and chopped up with a bone saw. One of many business titans invited, including Tim Cook of Apple, David Ellison, who now owns all of our media, Mark Benioff, who begged Donald Trump, he's the Salesforce CEO, who begged Donald Trump to send the National Guard into his hometown of San Francisco. Bill Ackman, billionaire investor who recently gave young men in the United States the best pickup line ever when they see a young woman who they're interested in. You should walk up to her and say, "May I meet you?" Which only makes sense if you're spelling the word meat, M-E-A-T. But, what do I know? And Jensen Huang, I can't remember who he is, but he's another billionaire too. So, okay, let's go back to that first part. In a sign that tensions between Trump and Musk have thawed since their fierce split over deficit spending earlier this year. What was the vote about today? The vote was about the Epstein files. And what was it that Elon Musk posted to Twitter 3 or 4 months ago? Bombshell, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. We all remember that, right? Hang on, let me find the exact word. ABC News from July 17th, 2025. It's a cover-up. Elon Musk floods Twitter with posts attacking Trump over Epstein. Let's see. Let me find some of these here. Musk's avalanche of posts come just weeks after he posted a claim that Trump's name appears in the Epstein files, and that's why documents weren't being released. And then he deleted all of those posts. And, it just takes me back to what I said in a post that I made last night, where the presumption has shifted. The presumption shifting means that the burden of proof has shifted from the person who's making the accusation to the person who is defending themselves against the accusation. And like the best analogy that I can make for this is, a presumption is a starting point. I practiced family law in California for 10 or 12 years. And family law in California has some pretty onerous rules and statutes and things like that. And so let's talk about spousal support. Spousal support in California in family law. If you have been married for less than 10 years, the burden to collect spousal support is on the spouse who is receiving spousal support. It's generally accepted that you're going to receive spousal support for 1/3 of the duration of the marriage. So if you were married for 9 years, you're going to get spousal support for 3 years. If you want more than that, as the spouse receiving spousal support, the burden is on you to demonstrate to court that you deserve to have spousal support for a longer period of time than 1/3 of the marriage. If you've been married for 10 years, the burden shifts. A marriage that is longer than 10 years, the presumption, the starting point, is that there's going to be spousal support paid for life. And it shifts the burden from the spouse who is receiving spousal support to the spouse who is paying spousal support to convince the court that there shouldn't be spousal support paid for the rest of the other spouse's life. So that's what a presumption is. A presumption is a starting point. And it shifts the burden of proof. So I made a video last night where I said, I feel like we've entered a phase where the burden of proof has shifted and the presumption has shifted. Whereas if you are now in November of 2025, an old, rich, white man, I feel like the presumption is, the starting point is, that you're a fucking pervert. And that the burden has shifted to you as the old, rich, white man who is a pervert. The burden has shifted to you to disprove that presumption, as opposed to that burden resting on people who are saying that person's a pervert to have to prove that you're a pervert. If you are an old, rich, white man in the United States in November of 2025, I feel like the presumption now is that you're a pervert and that the burden is on you to disprove that you're a pervert. Because, over the last 5 years, show me one rich, white, powerful man in the United States who hasn't turned out to be a pervert. It feels like it's almost all of them. It feels like they're almost all perverts. And we know that Elon Musk is a fucking pervert. At least he confines his shit to adults. But he wants to impregnate the entire adult population of the United States so that he has a little army of little Elon Musks running around, screaming about going to Mars and shit. He's a pervert too. Being a pervert doesn't necessarily mean that you want to do dirty things to minors. You can focus all of your sexual energy on other adults and still be a pervert. And Elon Musk is a pervert. I feel like that would be a pretty hefty burden for him to overcome. But anyway, Elon Musk, 4 months ago, said that the real bombshell is that Donald Trump is all over the Epstein files. And tonight, Elon Musk is at the White House having dinner with Donald Trump and another foreign leader who wears a dress and cut up an American reporter with a bone saw and killed him. So there's that.